Well, what's up, everybody? Man, I'm excited about this bye week. Broncos 9-2. I got my buddy Jeremy. Jeremy, how you doing, man?
Doing well. We're 9-2. Like we just beat the Chiefs. Life is good.
Yeah,
You know?
hell yeah, man. And I always usually hate the bye weeks. I don't know how you feel about it,
Yeah.
but sometimes I try to like enjoy them because I feel like, man, we need a break. It's been a crazy 11 weeks. I was saying in one video, and I'd like to get your take on it. Like, if someone told you that the Broncos were going to be 9-2, you never would have thought that it would have been like in the way in which they've done it.
Right.
It was just like so wild because at one point it was like we were the worst, you know, 8-2 team, worst 9-2 team ever, and then, or I guess at 8-2, and then you beat the Chiefs, and all of a sudden the narrative completely flips. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just been a roller coaster of like this is a really good team, this is an elite team, this is a terrible team. Again, they're an elite team. Like it changes every single week. Um, but yeah, I mean, how do you feel like it's gone compared to like the I guess the national and the local media narrative?
Obviously 9-2. It's gone better than pretty much anyone would have predicted at this point. But you're right. Like we don't feel like we're a 9-2 team the way that we've been talked about, like leading
Yeah.
up to this. And I thought that was going to happen. I said, if we beat the Chiefs, people are going to go full on Super Bowl expectations. And if we lose the Chiefs, then we're trash. Like
Yeah.
it's like weird to have it flip that hard one way or the other. But I just think that people don't credit enough defense. They don't like defensive looking games. They just go,
Mhm.
oh, that was ugly. And it's just like, well, the defense really played well. If it was 38-35, then people would have been like, that was a really good game. And you're just like, we gave up 35 points. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's all perspective. I think the people who really are into football, they understand like it football is all about just like figuring it out. Like some games are gonna be this, some games are gonna be that. And you just have to, figure it out in the crunch time. And for that, I think, they've exceeded expectations, no doubt.
Oh yeah. No, and it's crazy, man. I was thinking the other day too, like when I was watching the Raiders game. We were 7-2 at the time, and I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, if we lose this game, we go to 7-3. I was like, we're gonna get smoked by the Chiefs, and then we're gonna be 7-4, and we're kind of gonna be, reeling a little bit going into the bye
Mhm.
week. But then it's like, no, like it didn't happen like that at all, right? You got a really, really ugly win, but then the team responds. So, whenever the Sean Payton line that he always says is like, there's a fine line between being in a groove and a rut, is so true. It's crazy. Like one or two plays win you a game, and then that can completely just change kind of the outlook of the season.
Yeah.
So I only think it's fitting, man, in the bye week, kind of going position by position. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go like the entire offense by positional groups: quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, O line, and then do the same on the defensive side. Give grades, give thoughts, and I think that'll give perspective as to this is all being graded. I think up until this point, and then maybe what it looks like if they're trending up, if it's trending down, going into the back half of the season. But before we get into it, man, I was thinking yesterday, I was talking to my wife about it, like the fact that we're 9-2 and people are talking like Super Bowl and stuff, and obviously my mind's going to like, man, we could actually win the Super Bowl this year or be in the Super Bowl,
Mhm.
kind of made me like really nervous in a way. Because
Mm.
it's almost like, are those proper expectations? Or is it still, you have to go back and say, hey, as long as we win a playoff game, this season is a success. Like what determines a successful season for you as a Bronco fan?
Um, I'm gonna stick to the day one. Like, if we win a playoff game, it's a success. But I don't think you should be satisfied with that. There's a difference between understanding like you are progressing and that was successful, but it's also a different thing to being like, we're good now. Like that's good and we don't have to worry. Like, I think when you're 9-2 going into the bye and then you just beat your biggest rival and the team that's been at the top of the heap for the last 9 years in the AFC, your expectations have to change a little bit, right? Your goals have to change. Like now the goal is like number one seed and try to get to the Super Bowl. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Um, so it will be disappointment if that doesn't happen because that's the goal. But if you like after the dust settles and all that, if we win a playoff game or, go to the AFC Championship and don't win or something, it's still a success. It still is. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too, man, where it's kind of a unique year in the sense of like there's really no elite teams, like super dominant teams that I think anyone's like overly scared about. So it's like this is a year where it's a hell of an opportunity for us to
Totally.
be able to kind of take advantage of it. And yeah, I think you definitely want to be in control of your destiny if you know that you can get the one seed and get home field advantage throughout the playoffs, play one less playoff game.
Mhm.
It's massive.
Oh,
Massive,
yeah.
massive. So yeah, I mean goals change and it's crazy. It's been an unbelievable season. So that being said, we'll start with the most important positional group, the one that I think, determines the state of any franchise, and that's quarterback. And so what we'll do is I'll flash the grades on the screen. I'll have you kind of talk about why you graded it the way you did. I'll give my take and then we'll move on. Sound all good?
Sounds good.
All right. So quarterback position, the guy Bo Nix, let's flash him. Jeremy, you got him as I put a B plus plus. You gave me like an
Oh.
89.5.
So,
Uh,
yeah, when I was growing up, in high school, it was basically like 90% what and up, was an A, 80% to 89.4 was a B, like, or I guess 79.5 to 89.4 is a B, whatever.
mhm.
That's basically the general. I'm giving Bo Nix in the quarterback position an 89.5. It's an A, the worst A you could possibly get,
Yeah.
but it's an A. And I know people were going to be like, that's your guy. So you're, waiting that. But like, here's my deal with that. Uh, I'm factoring in the fact that he's only a second year quarterback. I'm not factoring him. He's 10 years in or something like that.
Mhm.
That's context. And also his leadership of this team and the way that the guys respond to him and like have his back and all that. That is an underrated quality that not all quarterbacks have. If you remember the Jay Cutler years, if you remember certain other years, Russ, like there's a difference between like, I'm going to ride for this guy, even though no matter how he's playing, even if he's struggling, then if he's like, sometimes people are playing well, but they like really not a huge fan of the person. So that's also part of the grade, but like it's heavily, heavily weighted by the final result of these games. And being clutch in the fourth quarter, I grew up in the Elway era. That's to me everything because it's like who you are as like down to your core is who you are when it's hardest. And even though, he's had to absorb a lot of, Sean Payton's offense and all these plays and new players and all that stuff, like you have to understand that. But man, when the lights get the brightest and like you absolutely positively have to have it, went and rewatched, the last quarter of the Eagles, the last quarter of the Giants. I mean, you just can't. If you're 9-2 and you've had 5 comeback wins or whatever it's been this season, which is like people have like 5 years if they've had 5 comeback wins. That's you know what I mean? So like how can you be like that's a B? Like no, we're 9-2 and he hasn't really greatly benefited from turnover like balls either. Like we haven't had a ton of defensive turnovers or easy scores off of like short fields either. So like,
Mhm.
I'm factoring all that in. So 89.5, the lowest A you could possibly have, but
It's called the homie A.
it's still an A. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You
like
don't
when you got
care.
a cool teacher that'll hook you up.
Exactly. Yeah. You're like, can you bump that up to just
Yeah.
0.2 more?
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I got it as a B minus, but I'm in agreement with a lot of what it is that you said because I feel like for me, man, when you look at the quarterback position, you look at the way Bo's performed, like even in the bad games or in the really messy, people talk about his footwork or not seeing the field or seeing the field at times. My thing is like I look at those as very much developmental flaws for like you're still developing rather than he's just awful. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I've seen awful quarterback play where like they literally it looks like they have no idea what's going on. They're consistently bad. They're consistently inaccurate. They're making boneheaded, hardcore, like terrible mistakes.
Yep.
The thing about Bo Nix is like in the moments when he's bad, he's not a detriment to the team in a sense of like giving. It's kind of like you know that you have a really good defense. You know that you could take some shots. You kind of have a good feel for the game in terms of like, okay, this is what I want to work on, or that's what I want to work on, but just don't make that massive mistake to put yourself in a really bad position. So I think that takes a lot of a credit. And in addition to it, Mike Carmelini yesterday on the show with Nick and RK, I thought he said something that I completely agreed with, because we're comparing it to like the Tebow years. He was really clutch, and Tebow they were just extremely lucky and extremely fluky, right? They just like got this sense of like, hey, it would work, but a lot of the times it's like other teams would just make massively, massively bad mistakes. The thing about Bo Nix is in the fourth is he looks elite in the fourth, passing the football, using his legs, getting the ball downfield. Like you see, damn, he's got all the tools. It's just got to get unlocked. And so it's such a different feel for it. I would say the reason I gave it a B- is because obviously you never want to put yourself in a position where you constantly have to have these fourth quarter comebacks. I mean, it's a huge plus that you can be clutch and come back and ultimately win these games, but it's got to be a little bit cleaner and more simple. And there's been a lot of things that the players around him haven't always been perfect too. But even in those moments, like getting off the faster starts, getting less 3-and-outs, getting more into a rhythm, I think you gotta knock him for that. But again, you kept it in good context. He's a second-year quarterback, and he's only getting better. And I really felt like in that Chiefs game, Sean and Bo really found a good balance of what it is that works. Like if you get the play call in with 10 to 15 seconds on the play clock, and he can kind of settle down, read the defense, make his checks, kill the play if he needs to, and then snap the ball without it being rushed, everything else is so much smoother, man. And I think it's only going to get better for the rest of the season. So I would say moving forward, this is a trending up arrow. I think that you would agree with that.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, you cannot discount the fact that, he's got the most fourth quarter comebacks of any second-year quarterback, the most in the league currently this year. And he's done it against an array of different opponents and in a bunch of different ways.
That's right.
Ways that you've had to come back historically, and ways you have to come back like against tough defenses, tough circumstances. He's done it all. Literally checked every single box. So you gotta love it.
And that's what I was going to say. My grade was weighted heavily on 4 games in particular, and it's the 2 Super Bowl participants. I mean, the fact that he could come back against the Eagles in Philly, early game before London, which everybody's record before London sucks, to do that there was like, okay, like that's not a fluke. You can't do that as a fluke. And you watch the Eagles right now, they're like, that's a legit defense, a championship defense. So like, that's a huge boost. Obviously, Kansas City this last week, he outperformed Patrick Mahomes when Patrick Mahomes is like desperate and Kansas City's desperate, and he was calm and handled his stuff and elevated his game. So that's a huge plus. The other 2 games was against the number 1 offense, which was the Dallas game, because going into that game, everybody was like, can he keep up? Can the offense, keep up with Dallas and all this stuff? And then as soon as it was over, and people were like, Dallas's defense isn't great, but like he had, we're going to see if he can keep up. And then afterwards it was like, oh, well, it's just Dallas's defense being bad. But it's like, you didn't say that 2 days before the game.
They should have scored 50. I mean, Cortland doesn't drop that ball. They score 50 points.
Yeah. And so he was on his stuff for that game. And I mean, he just crushed that game. And then the Houston game, which is the best defense, that also gets a lot of credit because you're on the road against a elite defense, and the play that wins you the football game was in that fourth quarter, that scramble where he basically had nothing and turned it into a 30-some yard run that puts you into field goal position to win the game. That's all on Bo. That wasn't like, oh, somebody caught a screen and then broke a tackle and then got 30 yards and you ended up in field position. It was like, no. Bo made that play to win that game. So those are the 4 different scenarios I was looking at too, factoring his grade in.
Yeah, I mean, and even the losses, right? I mean, we talked about the Colts loss at nauseum and how we got like screwed out of that. But my thing is like even in those games, in the Colts game and the Chargers game, defense didn't have their best performance. And in the moments of the game where defense was struggling, offense carried the weight and still gave us a chance at the end. And so that was always
Yep.
my thing is like anytime we needed a big time drive, he delivered every time.
Yep.
Whether it resulted in a win or a loss, like there was never like, oh man, we really need the offense to pick up its slack, and they just were dog trash every single time. So far, they have performed. So I think that that's a really important thing to talk about. And
Yep.
yeah, I think some people have it in like the C plus, C minus. That's totally fine. But yeah, I think you look at it, man. Like the people that want to say, oh, the Broncos team is probably still 9-2 or maybe 8-3 with Jarrett Stidham. I think you guys are just delusional.
Yeah.
Like, because first of all, it's just hypothetical. But dude, like you can say, a lot of people can make the argument about, oh yeah, well, the Eagles would still have a really good record if Jalen Hurts wasn't their quarterback. And it's like, dude, no, they wouldn't. Just because Jalen Hurts doesn't always look good, the guy willed you to a Super Bowl and won it last year. Like there's something about that. You talked about it with the belief of the team and all that. So
Yep.
I think it's so important.
Totally agree. That's right.
So important. All right, cool, man. Getting into the running back room. Obviously, this one was a pretty difficult one to judge because you had JK for the first 10 weeks of the 11. We're not going to have JK. People are saying, if Broncos get to the Super Bowl, they'll have him back. I think if we get to the Super Bowl, I still don't know if he'd play or if he does, not a lot.
I don't think he's
But
coming back.
you have it as a B plus. Walk me through that a little bit.
I think J.K. Dobbins has been a revelation. Like when we signed him and everybody was kind of like, we need one more back. We need another veteran. We need this. And he was out there and people were kind of like, remember, we had certain nicknames on our own show for him that, were fun to joke around about, but like nobody saw it coming like the way he played. I mean, he was fantastic. I think he's still top 5, even not playing last week. Like he was on pace for 1,300 yards, something crazy. Like he was so good. And he was a complete back. He was pass pro, screens, running, patient running. So yeah, the grade is the vast majority of that grade is J.K. Dobbins. I think where it drops off from, I would give it, if it was just like grading the player, how the player has been, he's an A. But like the other guys, a lot of drops. Bidet has he had one really good game, and then he had a couple games where he dropped some, screens. Harvey's been kind of ramping up, and Jaleel was decent in this last game. I like the intensity in which he ran, but the other guys bring it down to a B plus off of JK's A. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, no, this one was tough for me because I felt like even with JK and the way that he's played, he's looked really good. I haven't been fully satisfied with the running back room as a whole, but I think a lot of it, now that I think about it, is really because of Sean Payton and he just doesn't love to run the ball, even though he says that he does. Because I've liked some things about what I've seen from RJ Harvey. I do wish that they utilize them as more of a traditional back earlier in the year. I felt like I said that a lot because this was kind of something that was almost inevitable given the the history of JK, and it sucks because it's not like that was such a fluky injury. But I think still in the back of your mind, you think to yourself, okay, injuries in the running back room in general are just notorious.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be able to make sure. So we haven't best prepared for this particular spot. But yeah, I mean, overall, I thought the running back room was fine. I wish they addressed it a little bit more, or committed to it. I thought JK's been good. I just did what I don't like is the fact that it seems like we don't really have a full, complete back, especially outside of J.K. Dobbins, because J.K. could be your 3 down back if you wanted him to, but I don't like the fact that we needed to have J.K. for pure running situations, and then Tyler Bidet would be the 3rd down pass protecting back, and then RJ Harvey would be your pass catching back. It's why can't we just get a situation where we have 2 running backs that can do everything very, very well? And I think we'll get there. I do think that there was a lot of games too where The running backs kind of left a lot to be desired. Even on JK, like it's never going to be perfect, but it wasn't always ideal. But I still think overall B minus. And I know I shouldn't have factored in when I initially made the ratings. I kind of factored in the way the running back group would look moving forward. So that kind of brought it down a little bit. So I think if you're just looking, like if you're rating him, I thought J.K. Dobbins himself has been an A minus for sure. R.J. Harvey's been maybe a C plus, a little bit more frustrating because he'll have 2 really long runs, right? That looked good, and then the rest of them, which I think he's had like 60 carries or something on the year, has not been very good.
Yep.
And so he's missed quite a bit of that. So that's kind of where I go there overall. But
yeah. No, I don't expect. I'm hopeful, but I don't expect it to stay at the level it was the first 10 weeks. Because just of where we're at right now is unfortunate,
and that
and
scares the hell out of me. I hate that.
But if I'm looking at it with the silver lining, I think that RJ Harvey is a young guy who also played quarterback. So I think he understands defenses really well. I think he understands that. JK was almost so good that it didn't give RJ enough reps up into this point.
Yeah.
And now it's going to be like, okay, now you're going to have to get acclimated on the job training like immediately.
Totally.
But at 9-2, we have a good cushion right now. And if Bo can like raise his game a little bit more, I think that by the time we are in December and January, I think RJ can be up way more up to speed. I expect him to be a much more complete back by the time playoff time comes. So we have at least a good chunk of games here to like get him up to speed. But it was almost a detriment because JK was just so good that I don't think Sean wanted to take him out. And I get it because he was.
No, 100%. And I just, like I said, I'm worried about it, but I'm also like super excited to see how the running back room molds into shape. I'm just terrified that we become this team going into the playoffs that is extremely pass happy. Yeah. Right? Like if we're going to pass more than we run, that's what we do with JK or without, that's fine. But I don't want it to be heavily skewed to the point where like even teams are like, we're not scared of their ability to run the ball at all. Because JK always gave defenses in the back of their mind, they knew this guy could beat you. Like this guy can really, really wear you down. And so I just hope we utilize these last 6 weeks to figure that out. And Washington's going to be a really great team to be able to do that on. They're one of the worst teams in terms of run defense. Yep. You can certainly run the football on them and be successful. So I want to be able to see us one of those things where, again, we don't have to run more than we pass, but show that we can definitely still be a threat running the football. And I really don't care if it's RJ or Jaleel or Bidet or Deuce Vaughn off the practice squad. I don't really care who it is, but I want to be able to be able to do that. And I hope RJ and gets the first look and gets a really good look, because I feel like, man, he picks up things pretty quickly. So I think he could do a really good job on that. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah. No, I'm optimistic. I don't think he's going to be as good as JK has been, but I think who knows, he could pop too. Like I wouldn't be shocked if he by the end of the year is like, oh my gosh, this guy,
100%. Me neither.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's a second round pick. It's a really talented runner of the football in college. So
yeah.
All right, getting into the wide receiver room, you got it as a B minus. I marked the wide receiver room as a C plus. So
yep. Okay, so for me, Sutton has been super dependable in crunch time. I just think back to like him elevating against the Giants to put us into position to kick that field goal. Like there's been a lot of clutch moments from Cortland Sutton. So that obviously like brings the grade up. I think Franklin has improved from last season. I think Bryant is just starting to emerge. He's been an amazing blocker, but like every single time I see him catch the football, I'm like, we got to throw more to him, So that's how I feel about him. Mims kind of hasn't progressed since last year, I don't think, in the passing game. And there's just been way too many drops. And I don't feel like we're a good like yak team very well either. Like even Cortland, for the most part, he'll catch a ball on a dig and then fall on his own instead of like being like a Brandon Marshall where he's catching and then I'm going to shed 4 guys or do a spin move or doesn't. He almost catches it and just wants to secure it so much that then he wants to get down. And that's going to lower the score too. But overall, again, I'm factoring in the fact that Franklin's a young player, really young second year player. Bryant's a rookie and Mims is in his third year and hasn't really regressed or hasn't really progressed. I don't think he's regressed at all, but I think he's just part of it's the way they've called games too. A lot of screens that have been blown up and that kind of thing. But there's been a lot of clutch plays when you need it. And
Totally.
Bo can't throw it and catch it. You know what I mean? So like there's been that back shoulder ball, Franklin was huge. That catch early the catch down the sideline against the Chiefs early in that game, I think set the tone because that just started things off for us really well. But it's just the drops and the inconsistency that has a B- for me. But I think that we're trending up on this too.
Yeah, big time.
So
no, I agree with the trending up. I think we're trending up heavily. I like the fact that we didn't make a move at receiver because I am really intrigued by how these guys are developing, the step that Troy's taken, and I think he's looked better even now than he did earlier in the year. Obviously, Pat Bryant, everyone knows how I feel about him, but I'm the same way. I think up to this point, they've had some just unbelievably untimely penalties. That's been a frustration. The drops at key times has been an issue. And something that's gotten cleaned up recently, but was a big problem, was just bad routes being run. You even think about the Troy Franklin drop at I think it might have been the Raiders game. Him and Pat are crossing each other. They definitely were not supposed to be crossing each other. Yeah, Bo had a lot of overthrows, but some of them were guys who were just kind of lazy running at the end because they felt like they weren't going to get the ball when they had a chance to. So there was some route problems too. Again, a lot of those got cleaned up, but you had mentioned it in terms of the drops and the penalties really brought it down for me. But I think trending up big time. I think with Mims, he hasn't really been fully healthy at a lot of times. Concussion was a good thing for him in a way. He's probably not going to agree. It might be a little bit rude to say, but in a sense of it gave him a few weeks to get his body right. Because if you remember, he would always pop up on the injury report late in the week with a groin. One week it was a hip, which a hip and a groin can really be correlated. He didn't really look that explosive a lot of the times, but you saw that explosion last week with that 70-yard return. I was like, Mims' speed looked back, whereas before I was like, man, this guy looks like he's jogging. So I think he'll be he's trending in the right direction too. But yeah, definitely want to see a lot more Pat Bryant. Super excited about that. I thought the little Jordan Humphrey signing was really good in the blocking. I think I view him more as a tight end hybrid in terms of how he's utilized. But yeah, Troy, man, I'm not gonna beat him up for the drops. He had a really bad problem last year. It's better this season. But he's shown that he can get better there. But the guy creates separation. He's playing everywhere. Yeah. And there's a reason why he's targeted the most of anybody and has the most catches on the team. So I like this room a lot, man. I think it's a good balance, and I think we're definitely trending up.
Yeah. And don't forget about all the 2-point conversions that we've needed and have come through on. That's you get one chance at that. There's no second down for a 2-point conversion,
Yeah.
So
huge. And
that's big.
Yeah, and the one that was against the Giants was a hell of a catch too by Franklin. Hell of a catch. The second one, the one that I think got us within 3, or might have even got us the lead.
Then the one against Philadelphia where we took the lead with Franklin just shaking that guy and just being like, I'm going to beat you to the corner and there's nothing you can do about it. And I remember in the game, I'm thinking to myself, what the hell are you doing going for this, dude? Just kick it and then snap the ball and it's super easy. And I was like, never mind. I'm going to shut up now because you knew exactly what you were doing.
Worked out.
I'm going to be quiet about that.
Definitely a weird decision, but it went it went our way. So I dig it. All right, let's get into the biggest weakness on the offense. I think we can all agree on this. It's tight ends. And I'm not surprised. We got a shitty tight end room. Last year we were an F, so it's gone up to a D+. I've gone up to a D. Walk us through this a little bit.
Yeah, maybe I was being too generous. I felt like, is this too low? But then I was like, no, it is it's the D plus. If C, I don't know how you feel if C's average or whatever, but like D plus, you know, is only because Evan Ingram has had some clutch moments. I'm thinking about that catch against the Eagles, that touchdown that he scored to I thought was going
Huge.
to tie it, but then it actually ended up taking the lead because of that 2-point conversion. But like that's huge. Just having him in the room, I think gets a lot of confidence. But let's, you know, he's had too many drops as well. And after Ingram, it is a sharp decline. I'm sorry. I love Troutman's like backing up Bo and his that I mean, that's probably like the line of the year, like in the press conference about, the troll online trolls, but like if he could only block as well as he could talk, that would be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
can we
He's gotten a lot better since like earlier in his career, but yeah, it's not ideal.
yeah, that Kroll's obviously out. I mean, the fact that you're signing 41-year-olds to like come in and play immediately tells you
Yeah.
everything you need to know about the
Yeah.
tight end room. So
Yeah. And I think Nate Atkins coming back hopefully this season or this week
that's a big one.
will massively benefit Ingram because you kind of look at his production when Atkins was playing. He's targeted a lot more. He has a touchdown. His yards are higher, but I mean he's involved in the pass game quite a bit more because he's not going to be asked to block as much. So that'll hopefully unleash him. He's been like the only real like bright spot, even though it hasn't been ideal. He still has 32 catches on the year. Yeah,
Yeah.
32 catches on 50 target, 260 yards. And I think the chemistry between him and Bo will get a lot better. Like there was one where if he just ran the right route or the route that at least Bo thought he was gonna run, he'd have two more touchdowns that I can think of
Right.
this year. One against Oakland. Oh, Oakland. I
Mhm.
always call them Oakland, the Raiders, and the
Mhm.
other one against the Texans as well.
Yep.
That were like, man, he should have been out a little bit more, and those are touchdowns. So you see it there.
Yeah.
Troutman's just Troutman. It kind of is what it is. He's like, you can have your opinion on him, but he's not going anywhere, so you kind of just deal with it.
Yeah, kinda.
Um, and then yeah,
The thing
I'm waiting for Root Beer to get back.
Yeah. No, he's honestly, like, one of the most underrated players on our team, like, weirdly.
Yeah, he
You
is
know,
totally.
going in last season and even this season, people, I think, underestimated, like, his importance to this team. Like, he's
Yeah.
very, very he's just a good football player, period, like, not just tight end. He's just I like the intensity he brings,
Hmm.
and, we need that desperately. Um,
Yeah, and
the
he brings
thing you said
surprising
that
juice too.
yeah, and has the vision to, like, do a spin move instead of just trying to run through a guy or whatever, like, he's trying to score. He's not like what I just said about the lack of yak from the wide receivers. That's not Atkins. Atkins is like, "I'm gonna try to get as much of it out of this as I possibly can. I'm not gonna go down easily. I'm not just gonna because I'm a tight end, I'm not just gonna run into the guy and then fall." And I honestly think if we just had the mentality of that a little more, especially from the wide receivers, we could jump up an explosive level for sure. Um, the one thing I'll say about Ingram, and you just said about Mims, is it looked like he was kind of slower up until this last week. For something, I don't know what it is about Ingram lately, but he has looked like he's running with like half a leg sometimes. And what? I don't know if it's just his strides or like, his gait or whatever, but
Hmm.
sometimes it just looks like it's like he's giving full effort, but it's just like it's
Yeah,
almost like a laboring. And I'm just like, sometimes
yeah,
early in the season I felt like he'd catch it and get upfield really quick, and I'm like, oh, there it is. And now it feels like it's a labor.
yeah. You remember? So I think he missed the first game of the season, and then he
Mm-hmm.
came back and he had like a heel injury in a game, but he kept
Yeah,
playing. He didn't miss the next week. He could be battling with something too, to where it's
I
like it's not going to keep him out. That's just a speculation.
yeah.
But you're right because even in like the preseason when he had that like 60-yard run or something, I mean he was moving,
You're right.
and yeah he hasn't looked like so. Man, like I said, I think this bye week is going to help a lot of people. I think you
Yep.
never know. Players are constantly dealing with things that we have no idea about. Quinn Miners
Right.
talked about how he's been sick for like 4 months, um, and that time off is big. So hopefully he comes back and he looks better. But I would say it's a trending up position, just because I think Evan Ingram and Bo Nix their chemistry's only going to get better. I think Evan's only going to get better, more comfortable, and then having Nate Atkins back to where you're actually allowing everyone to play their true positions to their strengths could be good. And we don't really set the bar very high for the tight end position here. So.
No, like clearly that's the target in the offseason, like in the draft, like it's tight end.
Yeah.
It's the biggest weakness on our football team.
No doubt about it. Yeah, we we could benefit from having like a Brock Bowers type or a Trey McBride or even what Jake Ferguson's done at times. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that are balling. So
yeah, a ton.
Cool, man. We're getting into one of my favorites, and this one I actually hold on. Go ahead. I just had a typo. There you go. O-line, Jeremy B++. I got him as a B+ as well. I'd say B++ also. Talk to us about this O-line, man. It's definitely one of the strengths of this football team.
Yeah, I think most people would probably say an A or A-, especially the way that like PFF loves to grade. They love to say like Bo sucks, but our offensive line is so great. And it's like, all right, I don't necessarily agree with either one of those, but like our offensive line has been very good. But the run game, we're supposed to like remember like the grades that would come out and they were like, we're the number one run blocking offensive line. It's like, well, then why aren't we running for more? And I know that some of that has been vision and just like we didn't, Javonte was a shell of himself last year, looked good this year, but I don't think it's quite as good as people love to say, but like, but it's still very good. I mean, B++ is very, very good. I think there's just room to be elite, and I don't think we've been that yet. I felt like Bo was pressured more than Patrick Mahomes was in a lot of ways this last week, just off of like the basic pressures. It took us to like blitz him to kind of put a lot of pressure on him. And I think Bo's skittishness has had to do with getting hit early in games too, a little bit. So I'm not going to like come down and be like, it's your guys' fault completely. Like, not at all. But I don't think it's been quite to an A. I think it's been very good. And it's just the thing that brings it down for me too is the penalties have driven me absolutely insane. And it's the pre-snap penalties, like the false starting, the stupid, just the most inopportune times. A lot of the reason that people will grade our offense and Bo back is because it's like constantly, if you go back and just watch highlights, it's like 3rd and 11, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13. It's because it's penalties. Yeah. And it's just like, well, what do you expect them to do on those things? It's drops and penalties. And I think the offensive line has a lot of blame to go around for the penalties. So they've been very good, but I can't give them an A because of that.
Yeah, no, and I'm the same way. I mean, I think it's hard to give an entire unit an A as well. Like, I think we have an absolutely elite left tackle. I think Garrett Bowles has been an A++, about as good as he can get. I don't think he's given up a sack yet this year.
Yep.
He's been phenomenal, right? We had kind of a revolving door a little bit at left guard. Palcho's kind of settled in there. And then Wattenberg, albeit he's making progress, still drives me insane with his horrendous snaps. Why can't you just snap the freaking ball right here? I don't know why that's so hard. Getting beat sometimes
it's crazy
at really bad moments. Quinn Miners, as we know, has been really sick for a lot of the year. I hope he's just genuinely okay and gets better because that's scary when you're sick for that long.
Yeah.
And in the games where he's felt good, he's been his normal dominant self. In other games where he hasn't, he's had some vulnerabilities. And I thought McGlinchey, to his credit, has been really solid overall. So I think we have one of the best units in the NFL. But it doesn't mean that they've been phenomenal. And for me too, man, the penalties is what brought it down. Some of the pre-snap stuff would drive me crazy, for sure. And really, mainly just Luke Wattenberg. I think we definitely need to upgrade at center. But overall, this line's been really solid. They've been fun to watch. And they've had really good moments in the run game, and the other times where it's like, not necessarily the best. So overall, I think that they're fire, and they're definitely still one of the strengths of this football team. And when we get Ben Powers back, that's going to be really nice because I thought he was playing super well earlier in the year as well, which proves again that preseason doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. And just the credit, like that touchdown that Jaleel scored was all offensive line.
Yeah, it was
like
awesome.
And in a game like that, to basically look across the other sideline at guys who have won 9 straight, AFC West championships and Super Bowls and need it super desperately and be like, well, we're going to push right past you and score this. Like that is such a tone setting type of play.
Yeah.
And demoralizing for a defense, especially like there were some plays I saw people break down where Chris Jones just quit. Like Miners struggled on a couple plays, but like there was a lot of plays he just locked Chris Jones straight up.
Oh yeah, locked
And
in.
it was like I'm done for this play. I'm like I'm not even going to keep trying. And the fact that Chris Jones, he looked defeated, and his post-game interview where he was talking about how they knew what we were going to do and they checked the coverage right then. And when we know, like when we know what protection we need to do and the other team is like, crap, like we're done now, that tells you that they don't have confidence just to beat them just straight up. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's one thing to be like, I'm going to trick you and you don't know what I'm about to do. But it's another thing where it's just like, I don't care if I tell you what I'm going to do, I'm still going to do it. They don't have the confidence in themselves to beat our offensive line if the offensive line has the right protection. So that tells you a lot too.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it, man. They've been really fun to watch this year overall. And I mean, I always just go back and think to that long run that RJ Harvey had, the touchdown run against the Cowboys. It doesn't get much more beautifully executed than that. In fact, PFF, who with some things I like, they rated that as a perfect grade for everybody on the offensive line. It was a perfect, and it was. Everything about that was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. And I think Miners blocked like 3 guys in that one play.
Yeah, he was just anything in his way, he was just eliminating it. He didn't even care if they were his own teammates. He was just get out of my way. It was awesome, man.
Yeah.
That was such a sweet play, dude.
That was
on to another strength. So this is, I think, it just shows why the Broncos are 9-2, why they're such a solid team, is because we built in the trenches. When Sean Payton came here, he invested in getting, elite offensive linemen in terms of Powers and McGlinchey, really shoring that spot up, developing guys, and the D-line as well, man. Signing, bringing in Zach Allen, trading for John Franklin Myers, and then continuing to build through the draft and develop the drafted guys. We both got these as an A. I think it's pretty easy. I don't really ever give out A pluses because I feel like you can always be better, right? So A is probably like the highest grade I'll give just because I'm weird like that. But walk me through the D line overall, man.
Yeah, it's an A for me. I do have an A plus coming up, but the D line's got an A. I mean,
oh my God, I do too.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's hard to get better than what you've seen on that one.
No, for sure.
But dude, Allen, John Franklin Myers, Jones, and Roach they've just been great. Like it wasn't that long ago when this was by far the weakness on the football team, and the trenches when we had to play the Ravens or you had to play these certain Titans type of teams, like you were just like, oh gosh, they're just going to eat us up in the trenches and all this stuff. And the mentality starts in the trenches. And that's what Sean understands. And that's why he like emphasized those when he first came here. And that's now one of like the biggest strengths of our team. They've been great. And I think people, when they saw DJ Jones resigning and they're like, some people were like, do we really need to do that? Blah, 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 blah. I just like, he's one of those underrated players. I think that, it's what those guys do in the trenches that allow the other guys who are about to get even higher grades, like shine, because they lock that stuff down and they're doing the dirty work. And the fact that the whole team was like, no, you have to have this guy tells you a lot. And Roach is one of those like unsung heroes. Tillman is one of those unsung heroes. I think Tillman showing ability on those interceptions has been amazing.
Yeah.
I almost feel like we need to give him a rep or two in the offense, but they've just been really good. Like they set the tone for the defense. Like I don't think any team wants to come into Denver. Like that's what Akeem and TG Ward and all these other people have been like. if we get the number 1 seed and you got to come to Denver and play our defense, good luck, and it starts with them.
Oh yeah. No, dude. I mean, they're constantly like they're never getting pushed back. It's such a deep unit. Like, you look at it, we run a 3-4. So really our starting defensive linemen are John Franklin Myers, DJ Jones, and Zach Allen. And DJ Jones, who's a pure nose and plays 50% of the snaps, has 2 sacks. Malcolm Roach, who fills in for him, has 2 sacks. John Franklin Myers, 4.5 sacks. And Zach Allen, 6. Like, so it's not just that they're dominant in terms of like stopping the run and mudding the pocket up and all of that, but they're causing crazy pressure and getting sacks. Like, imagine the amount of pressures and hurries that they have if the numbers are like that. It's insane unit. They're deep as hell. Ioma Uwazurike has got 2.5 sacks. He's been a revelation this year. He's been awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, it's not only is it good, like the starters are so damn good, but the guys filling in are off the chain. And I think that's the same thing you can say with the next group as well. But man, they've been so good.
That Uwazurike tackle this last Sunday when they were down in the red zone and it was like 2nd and 2 or 2nd and 1, and he blows it up and makes a tackle for a loss, and then we sacked Mahomes on 3rd down, was like one of those plays that will kind of get lost, but like humongous play.
Yeah.
Humongous. And he's just Wazuriki is just an unmovable human being. So, obviously it was going to take him a little time to shake off the rust from being out for a year, but he it's just the epitome of the whole offensive line or defensive line. They've just been unshakable this year.
Yeah, no, he has been off the chain, man. So damn good. And yeah, that unit is ridiculous. They're so good, man.
Yeah.
I love it. Which brings us to the edge rushers, and this is where we both gave A pluses, and it is really because I don't think we can get much better here, man. Like, I mean, realistically, you can say, okay, you can substitute your backups for like 2 elite starters, but realistically, it doesn't get much better than our edge room at all.
Yeah, like, have they made every single sack they could possibly have made? No, it's impossible. You're not going to ever do that. But like, when you're on pace to you're leading the league in sacks by a wide margin.
Yeah, they got 49.
You're on pace to challenge the 85 Bears for the most. Like, it's a no-brainer. It's an A+. Like, no one was expecting it to be. I think people were expecting it to be good, and people liked Cooper and obviously Benito. But when they signed those contracts, they were kind of like, there was a little bit of like trepidation of like, are they going to continue this? We think so, and we really like them as guys, but we're hoping that they can. And it's like, nope, they wouldn't even. They've even surpassed that. So they've been incredible. You got to throw Tillman in there. Jonah Ellis, if he's been hurt, but people are forgetting sleeping on him. Like, he's amazing as well. Like, dude, to beat the Chiefs without PS2, without Dobbins, without Singleton, and nobody even mentioned Jonah Ellis wasn't there either. Mm-hmm. And it's like, those are huge, talented people that we were without, and to be able to still handle your business like that shows you the depth of this team. So yeah, no, A+, no comments.
Yeah, no, man. I think you said it well. I mean, the only thing I would add is like, people don't understand that our backup edge room in D'Andrea Tillman and Jonah Ellis are starters on 25 NFL teams.
Oh yeah.
They are that good, and they're the backups. And what's made them what's taken this to the next level of A+ is that Nick Bonito, like Jonathan Cooper, we've always known is very good against the run as well. Nick Bonito has taken a massive leap. He's borderline elite against the run himself. They could both get after the tack. I mean, it's so fun to watch him, dude. It's just so fun. The edge room is off the chain, off the charts. So
and to be a super talented 9-2 football team, and the best unit on your team has no first round picks in it, and they're by far the best. It just shows you like the drafting and development that has taken place.
Yeah.
Because Bonito, Cooper, Ellis, and Tillman, I mean, none of those guys were like, for sure, these guys are blue chip players. all these guys were kind of like, well, maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
They're kind of tweeners, kind of this, and it's just like, man,
Dude,
a lot of
yeah.
those, you know.
I mean, Tillman was undrafted. We got him from the UFL or whatever,
Yep.
XFL, whatever the hell that was. And Jonah Ellis was what, third or fourth rounder?
I wanted to say second. Was he a
No, he
third?
was.
Maybe he was a third. Because we
Benito
not
was
have a
the
second?
last pick of the second round pick.
Yeah, basically a third. I think
Jonah,
you're right.
I think was a third or a fourth.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he was a
And
third.
Jonathan Cooper was a seventh rounder.
Right. Exactly.
You know?
Because he had the heart condition that we were like, no, we'll still take you and like, you know, we'll figure that out, whatever.
Yeah.
But all of those guys have paid huge dividends.
Crazy. Yeah.
So,
John Franklin Myers was like a 6th round pick. Zach Allen was a 3rd round guy.
Yep.
I mean, you look across the Ioma was 6th rounder, 5th rounder, whatever it was. I mean, it's crazy.
It really reminds me of the 97-98 Broncos offense, where it was just like the Rod Smiths, the Ed McCaffreys, the Terrell Davis, all these people were like not supposed to be elite, and they all ended up coming into this weird ragtag group of just like, nope, we're the best in the NFL, and I don't care that we weren't like, it doesn't matter what you thought we were going to be. This is who we are. And some people peak at different times in their lives. And it just reminds me of like a dominant unit that isn't made up full of like blue chippers. Like other than PS2, like that's the whole defense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. No, we've everyone's been fun to watch, man. So it takes us to, you can call it I guess the weakness of the defense, but it's been massively improved to my surprise.
Mm-hmm.
That's the inside linebackers. So you got him as a B-. I was surprised by that. I had it as a B- as well. I thought you'd have him lower. But then again, I forgot. If it was Kodiak, he'd probably have it because Singleton. But
right.
Go ahead and walk us through your thoughts there.
Again, I'm factoring in context. Singleton's coming off of a ACL or whatever last year. Like that's not easy. And then we obviously know like the cancer diagnosis, that kind of thing. But I'm not factoring that part in. He struggled in the early part of the year. I think he's gotten, you know, I think he's played valiantly and coming back from that injury, and his, you know, I think he's rounding into being pretty good. Like with up until that cancer diagnosis, he'd been pretty good. And then I think Sternad has gotten even better than where he was at last year. I thought he's pushing to the fact that most people were like, play him over Singleton and put, you know, now that Greenlaw's back. And Greenlaw, I think, is just getting going. You know, he unfortunately was out longer than we wanted, but I think that was just an fan expectation type of thing. I think the Broncos always knew this was the plan. When they signed him, I think part of the reason why he came here was because we were like, we'll give you time to get right. We're not forcing you to do it. I like Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and those guys in San Francisco. They know how to draft and develop guys, but like their biggest weakness is like they rush guys back from injury. They don't prepare in the preseason well to like, you know, callous the bodies, all that kind of a thing. And I think we have a much smarter plan when it comes to that. And I think when you come to free agents and that kind of thing, I think that shows a lot of people, you want to be here, like sign with us, because we're not in a position where we're going to be like, you better perform or else, you know what I mean? And now we're going to allow you to get back at your time and be successful. So I think this is trending up. But it didn't start. If you would have asked me after week 5, this would be lower.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it, man. I think Alex Singleton's done a really, really good job, especially once they started utilizing him as strictly a run stopper, right? Not isolating him in pass coverage. Because as a run stopper, he's always been really, really good. He's obviously very loved by his teammates. I've always loved Alex Singleton, like in terms of the passion that he plays with, the motor that he's got. Like I've always loved that. But it was like, yeah, he had a lot of the flaws that you had seen. Having Greenlaw back helps a lot too, which I was hopeful that would, because it allows for his responsibilities to change. And so, yeah, Justin Sternad's been awesome. People forgot how close we were to losing him this year. I mean, I think again he had wanted to go. Remember, he wanted to go somewhere else, and then he ended up signing back. And then I think he did it again, and there was a lot of that. But it's nice to have Sternad because he's been great. Greenlaw I thought has been awesome. I still don't think he's physically right. To
He's
me,
not
a lot of the times
100%.
he still looks like he's kind of running in mud a little bit. Um, it's getting better.
Mm.
But he's been really really good. I think still, but I think that he could take another level. So that's why I agree with you. I think he's the room as a whole has been trending up, but definitely they seem to have fixed a lot of the flaws that they have there in the inside linebacker room. So super excited about that.
Yeah, and extra credit for that Sherrod pick against the Giants. That comeback turned on that pick,
Oh yeah,
and we had not been a
massive.
team turning them over. So, like, playing that the way he did was huge.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, credit
Big
for
time.
that for sure.
Totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. He has been off the chain, man. It's been a really fun, really really fun, just defense as a whole to watch. Obviously, anybody
Yeah.
that's watched the Broncos defense is like this dominant, just straight dominant. Which brings us to the secondary. I was actually surprised that you had him as a B minus. Walk us through your grade for a B minus.
No. I didn't have him as a B minus. That was an error on your
Did you
part.
not? Was it
No,
an
I
error on my
had it
part?
as an A minus, as like you. Um,
You ain't lying, bro. My bad.
that's all right. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like PS2 is PS2. He's still PS2. Unfortunately, you know, he's out, but I think he'll be back soon. But the fact that you can lose PS2 and still play the Chiefs and still shut them down tells you everything you need to know about the secondary.
Yeah.
Like, we all know Riley plays super hard. I wrote down, he's been very good, but he has a melanin problem that the NFL they have the problem with it. I don't understand. He's being racially profiled, so I don't like it. Now can he be a little bit cleaner, a little bit better? Sure. But also in that fact, it's 95% refs, 5% him, in my opinion. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they don't call that crap on anybody else. So, like, can you get it by the letter of the law? Sure. But, like, come on, what are we doing? Like, this is the
Yeah.
NFL. Here's what you got to understand. This is the way I look at, like, secondary is like, this is two people competing. And if one's cheating to win, then you call it. But if it's just two people competing for something, I think they expect it to be like, hey, don't touch them. Just be a complete shadow. And then at the very last second, swipe the ball down. It's like, that doesn't work like that. Like,
Yeah.
if you've played sports, it's like you have to get in there. Like, our favorite DBs are the guy, Chris Harris's are like the scrappy little, like hand fighting and like when to turn, when to do this. It's like Riley's been really good in my opinion. But Jaquan and KAD, like Chris Abrams, Drain, and Barron, I feel like they've been really good. Barron, obviously a slower start, but that makes sense. He's a rookie, and they didn't want to like put too much on his plate, especially when you have a veteran, unit in there. I think Chris Abrams, Drain, the last couple games that he's been forced into action has been spectacular. I think
Yeah.
he has been one of the super underrated, forgotten about players. He made a humongous play on that on that last drive, or was it the second to last drive against the Chiefs? He threw it that third down. I think it was that third down. He threw up against the sideline, and Abrams Drain forced him to kind of lead the receiver to the outside. Couldn't make the play. And they haven't really tested him because he's just on people. So he's been great. And McMillan, man, I've had my issues with McMillan. Sometimes I feel like sometimes like he'll get burned too many times, but he like will respond like you always say. But man, Sunday he was on one, dude.
He was on
Sunday,
one.
like, I mean, 2 sacks and an interception against the Chiefs in the biggest game of the year is like, okay, you, dude, just give it up. Like, he should be defensive player of the week. He should be all the things. He was spectacular.
Yeah, no, he's off the chain. I love watching Jaquan play, man. And it's almost like whenever he gets burnt, even if it's bullshit burnt, like he had that 61-yard catch on him, uh, which it was a pretty clear like that. The receiver pushed off, but he just lets plays like that fuel him, man. He's like, all
Mhm.
right, you're gonna do me like that, like watch it, and he always responds, dude, all the time. I love it. Yeah, our secondary is so good. Um, Brandon Jones is always just never talked about, but he's so incredible.
Mhm.
I would make the argument that the MVP on the defense has been Talanoa Hufanga
Yeah.
more than anybody
Yeah.
because he's just the shit, dude. Like, there's no other way around it. He plays everywhere, all close to the line of scrimmage, in the box, on the outside, flies around, allows for other guys to just be able to make plays. He's always out there making plays. Great in the run game. Talanoa has been unbelievable this year. And yeah, as you said, I mean, the rest of the guys, I think Riley's obviously had his moments, but he's been really good. He's super good in the run game too, like as a tackler.
Mhm.
Jade Barron's been amazing, kind of like the tight end eraser
Mhm.
in a way when he's gotten his opportunities. Still so mad he got the pick six taken away. Still, I'm so mad about that.
Trash.
So mad about that. And yeah, Chris Abrams-Drain is just all he does is play well when called upon.
Yep.
I think our secondary is borderline elite, man. We're so good. And so, yeah, again, it just rounds out this defense being off the chain. There's not really much else that we can say about it. And again, shows the depth that we have. Like PJ Locke
Yes.
hasn't played a lot, but you feel like he's a really good safety to come in and play if you need him to. I mean, he's shown that he can be at least adequate, and he's a reserve guy now. And so it's dope. This
Yeah.
secondary's been so fun.
No, the Hufanga signing has been the equal as good, if not better, than the J.K. Dobbins signing. That was like such a big one. I think people, because he had been hurt and, and it's like they can only sign so many people for the 49ers. When he left, I think people were like, well, okay, we have to sacrifice, but he's a good player and all that stuff. And then seeing him this year, you're just like, oh, shoot, I forgot how good he was.
Yeah.
I mean, he does give obviously Palomalo vibes, just the way hair looks, the movement, like him kind of just like, he just reminds you of like a lion just back there, like pacing, and you're like, oh crap, he's coming at some point. I don't know when. Now, I will say, if we could get some stickum on that guy's hands, like it would be A++, because he's had some chances at some picks, but I mean, that's a small complaint just for how he's played. He's played phenomenally.
Yeah. No, man, he's been so good. I've really, really, really enjoyed watching him play, man. He's just been so fun. And it's funny, man, because you look at it like, the big free agent sign-ins are like the ones that I think most of us were the most excited about was Ingram and Greenlaw. And I think a lot of it was because we were so weak at those positions.
Right.
And while they've been really good, the best ones have been J.K. Dobbins, like you said, and Talanoa Hufanga. Those are just massive. But yeah, Hufanga's been special. Speaking of special teams.
Extra special. Sometimes special in the short bus.
Yeah, you got it as a B-.
That was my B-. Yes.
Yes.
A lot of struggles here in coverage and penalties. A lot. That brings the grade obviously down.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna give it the extra credit that I gave Bo and gave like the wide receivers. Like when you've had to have some clutch moments, they've had clutch moments. I remember one game where Crawshaw was our best player. Like he kept us in it because he was just booming kicks. I mean, I'm factoring the fact he's a rookie. I'm not expecting him to come in and just be like lights out day one. There's going to be ups and downs, but like and then he struggled against the Raiders, but super windy, super weird day. Like the fact that you're dropping the football from here, 3 feet and it's already moving and you're kicking it with your shin. You got to factor all those things in, but a big part of this grade is just how clutch Will Lutz has been. Like, I mean, 5 field goals against the Chiefs and game winners against, he had a huge kick in Philadelphia. It wasn't like the game winner, but like that was a huge kick that put us up 4. The huge walk-off against the Giants, like the walk-off against the Chiefs that you finally like righted from last year. The fact we've talked about this on other pods, but like the fact that Sean Payton looks at him and like celebrating pre-kick is insane to me. Like it's so crazy to me that even has ever happened. Like the last person you usually want to talk to is your kicker and just be like, gosh dang it. I remember Peyton Manning just like always being like, oh, freaking kicker. Like we always have to deal with some kick,
Yeah.
I just, you got to give it up to Will Lutz. He's been great. And Mims, now that he's back as a returner, like huge play on Sunday as well. I think he's obviously been a Pro Bowler at that, but like earlier in the season, I feel like we're rounding into shape. This is obviously trending up. That's why I'm a little recency bias on this one, but like it's the clutchness and the fact that we have gotten better. But Rizzy, there were some weeks there that we were like, oh man, this is not good. So
Yeah.
I might be a
Yeah.
little
No.
generous.
No, for sure. I think so, and I think you're right. I mean, it's trending, and obviously this is one of those where you weight certain things differently, right? Like obviously I rate, I kind of like would rate Lutz as like his own kind of guy, right? Because it's like if he was struggling, is the special team struggling, or is it individual player? You replace him, and all of a sudden that unit's better. So it's kind of like I rate it a little bit different. Will Lutz has been amazing. He's always been one of my one of the unsung heroes, because you look around the league and there's so many teams that cannot get their kicking situation right. I mean, bro, the Rams, as good as the Rams are, their kicking situation has been horrible. The Commanders are terrible at kicking the ball. So the Giants, it helped us, but you saw like
same with the Raiders.
man,
It helped us.
yeah. I mean, you see how much kickers can ruin games, and Will Lutz has been awesome this year. I mean, you talked about the 55-yard kick in Philly. He had a 57-yarder in London against the Jets.
That's right.
In a game that was as messy as it was huge. And then a 54-yarder. His 50-plus has been great. He's 3 for 5 from 50-plus, but here's what you have to understand. One of them never should have been attempted in that wind, in a 59-yarder. That was down the middle. It was just the wind literally stopped it, fell short. The other one was blocked. So you can argue that like he's almost perfect from 50. And then he had another, I think, did he have 2 blocks?
He had one miss. The only bad miss that I remember is the one in Indy that like hooked.
Which was crazy.
It was like that was like the breath of God pushing it out of the way. Like
So
I don't even understand that one. So
a lot of fluky stuff, but he's been amazing. I thought Crawshaw overall has been really good. I think for me with the special teams, man, I look at it like the really, really hardcore controllables as a unit have drove me nuts. It cost us a game against Indy with a stupid leverage penalty. That we were awful against the Titans, giving up a long return for DK. And I mean, you go through the games. Like, let me see if I could just go back here and go through it. I had it pulled up, and of course now I don't have it. So just give me a second. But you look at the games that we had, and it was like, dude, what the hell are we doing? It was crazy. Here, sorry. The game against the Chargers, I remember us. So Tennessee, we had the long kick return, we had the muffed punt. Those were all crappy. Indianapolis, we had the stupid leverage call, which just really you got to be smarter on that at this point. And you had the missed kick. And then you go the Chargers game. I feel like there was something that was significant there, but I can't pinpoint exactly what it was.
I can't remember
at that point. Maybe there wasn't anything significant. Cincy, whatever, it was kind of shitty. Philadelphia, I feel like we had some quirks in terms of being able to cover punts. I mean, it was always like a coverage thing that would drive me absolutely insane. And it wasn't really until the Vegas game where I was like, finally. In Houston, it felt like every single time, we had shitty field position, and then finally Crawshaw at the end flipped it. But
that's right.
It was like not towards the end of the game. Finally in Vegas, we get the block. I felt like that was big time. So it ended up being a lot better. But yeah, we're definitely trending up. We definitely had some better moments. But dude, I felt like, man, the negatives outweighed it so significantly, and I was just like, it was extremely frustrating. So I did originally have it as a D+, but to be honest with you, the last couple of games probably brought it up to a C- for me. And I think it'll get better. I'm confident that it'll get better. I do obviously believe in Darren Rizzi, but it's going to have to. And maybe Garrett Wallow's like the keys there.
Maybe. I mean, they got rid of Trent Sherfield too. Like maybe that was one where they're expecting him to do more and he didn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I mean, kudos to Frank Crum coming through.
Huge. Yes. That was a big play too. Huge.
So
yeah. That was awesome. He was so pumped up. Geez, pumped up. I love that. He was so fired up, which is cool to see.
Well, imagine being him, dude, where you're like, on the sideline. You're on the team. You're experiencing all of this season and not being able to contribute to it hardly at all. I think he came into one game or whatever, and then just like got some spot duty or whatever. But like to come in and make an impact play against the biggest game, and like to kind of that ended up being a huge difference. 3 to 4
Oh
points
yeah,
is, I mean, massive. So
massive. Yeah.
yeah, no, I was happy for him. Like that's kind of thing where it's just like when your moment comes, like be ready for it, and he was.
Yeah. No, I thought he was off the chain, man. I loved it.
Now the one if you're done with special teams, the
Mhm.
one area that we didn't talk about is just overall coaching.
Oh
Do you want
yeah,
to do that?
go for it.
I would say overall coaching, I'm going to give it an A-. I think Rizzy brings the grade down a lot. Sean's, offense in the first halves and all that stuff obviously like hurts a little bit, but like and Vance brings it has been A+. So like, there's all that. But the thing that brings it that solidifies it as still an A- for me is the button pushing that Sean Payton has as a football coach is top tier. Like it is like Hall of Fame tier stuff. I've watched football for so long and I can kind of know when this game doesn't feel good coming into it. Like this is a game you lose. I don't know why. This is just overall vibe of like, I don't like these Thursday night games, or London's going to be tough, or the game before, or we got to travel back to back East Coast games or whatever. He's always thinking of those little ways to motivate. And he has had I've said this, every time where it's just like, you're always going to win some games you don't think you're going to win, and you're going to lose some games you don't think you're going to lose. We haven't lost any games I didn't think we should lose. Like you can maybe say Indy, but like Indy's been really good. Like, so
Mhm.
they've, maybe you could have said that after week 2, but like, I don't think anybody's looking at that loss and being like, how the heck did you lose to Indy? No, I mean, and we shouldn't have lost Indy. I was on a stupid call, but I just am really, really impressed. I mean, I love Mike Shanahan, but Mike Shanahan would have some season collapses. Mike Shanahan would lose some games that you're just like, what the frick? How do we come out so
Yeah.
flat? So Sean Payton, for me, like I just love to have the balls to be like, I feel like this is a Super Bowl caliber team in the
I know.
preseason,
It's
and
crazy.
is so crazy to me that he said that. And to
Yeah.
be 9-2, and then to you just beat the Chiefs and put them at 5-5, you're like, okay, I'm not arguing with this man.
Yeah.
If you watch the national media, it's very interesting because Sean has some people that are like ride or die people, Kay Adams, Chase Daniel, certain guys. And then he's got some haters too. And you're just
Oh
like,
yeah.
and maybe it's former players that had to play against him or something. I don't know. But man, just sitting back and just watching the way this team has like emerged from, I just can't credit him enough as far as like where we were 3 years ago.
I know.
Like we had no
I know. It's
business even
crazy.
sniffing the playoffs with Russ, and we were right there. And now he's taken, Bo Nix, a rookie quarterback, to the playoffs, and now we're 9-2. Like I can't do anything but an A for that.
Yeah, no, you make a lot of good points. But people, dude, it's so funny when you're a coach, you'll get so heavily criticized on like a play or two that a
Yeah.
call that you made, right?
Yeah.
And it'll completely allow for people to forget like, dude, look at everything Sean's done. And I think you nailed it on the head when it comes to I don't remember a coach in Broncos history that has like, or at least that I can recall, at least, when I was aware enough to pay attention to this, is like just having a feel for the team.
Mm.
And as a result, having a feel for games. Like people don't realize that a lot of the times, if you just get a sense that like your players are in a good headspace, you're still in control of this game, and you just got to be really conservative, and it works out, you did a really good job. And then in times where you're like, hey, we got to be a little bit more aggressive. Like I loved how we came out against Kansas City, and even though we didn't hit on a lot of those aggressive plays, showing that aggression, right? Because he even said like we didn't win the coin toss, but if we did, we were going to take the ball. So we didn't win it. We ended up getting the ball. We wanted to kind of set the tempo. Just dude, he does it week in and week out.
Yeah.
Making the decision last year to go and spend the time in West Virginia, right? The way that he planned and had the team focus of like, don't worry about London when you're in Philly.
Yep.
And then being in London and saying, okay, now we know emotional wins. We know what the statistics are like. Let's, make that an emphasis. And then winning, coming back from London. I mean, it's just like a constant. He's got such a good feel for that. And
Yep.
really letting his coaches coach, I think too, like when he really seemed to just take the reins off of Vance and being like, Vance, you do your thing, dude. It's been awesome.
Yep.
And then I think he didn't have any reins on Rizzy, and he kind of like put a little bit more pressure on Rizzy, and then Rizzy's getting better. And really just in the off seasons too, man. Like he loves it when his guys get opportunities to go elsewhere, right? We lost a lot of coaches because people wanted to get this into their organization, and he was happy for them. And he's bringing in other guys to be able to replace it. And so, yeah, overall as a leader, people say, oh, his players don't like him, dude. Actions will speak a lot louder than words. His players love playing for him, man. And everyone thought the relationship between him and Bo was bad. I think Bo loves to play with Sean Payton, dude. I think that their relationship is off the chain. So I think he's been great. Vance Joseph, can't say enough about him. Talk about a turnaround. He was like the Garrett Bowles of coaches.
Yeah,
right?
You're totally right. Yep.
Garrett Bowles went from everybody hated him to like he's the best. I love Garrett Bowles.
Yep.
And same thing with Vance, man. We used to all hate him, and now it's like, what an unbelievable coach.
Dude.
He's done such a good job.
The credit to Vance, it's so weird how many parallels this team has to former teams. Like 2015, I said 97, 98. The fact that Vance is now had like the humility to be like, I'll go back to the Denver Broncos, even though they're the ones that fired me a few years ago, and step into a role, and then to have 70 hung up on him and still just like, we're going to get this right. And like I said, he hasn't done it with like very many blue chipper players as far as like the expectations that it wasn't just walking into this like ready-made defense. And he's turned all these guys and let them develop and empower them to be so good. And he just is pressing buttons like nobody's business when it comes to like dialing up pressures, dialing up things mid game. Like he's been so good. But like Wade Phillips came back to the Broncos after being their head coach and was phenomenal. And now, and that's never happens. And then we've done it twice now. Vance has come back and now he's doing the Wade role that was happening in 2015. It's just, that's weird to me that's like,
that's crazy.
It's so weird.
Yeah. There are a lot of parallels. Yeah, man. I mean, and to your point, like he came in and he was like, listen, this defense has been really good. They ran, I'm blanking on his name. The coach that we had prior.
Ejiro
Evero. Evero. He's like, we're going to keep doing what they do because he didn't want to like shake things up because like the defense was really good with Ejiro Evero, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you said, they get 70 hung up. And he's like, not only doesn't panic, but he's like, we're running what the hell I want to run. And midseason makes the flip.
Yep.
Has one of the greatest midseason turnarounds for a defense. Defense becomes elite. And another thing too, man, is like the development of players. Every single player that has played under Vance Joseph has either made significant strides year over year in the system or been a much better player than who they were previous to where they came from. Like they're all ascending. And so he's been amazing.
Yeah, no,
Vance. Yeah, I mean, kudos to him. Man. He's been great.
That's such a good point about like the 70-point game, like flipping it, because it's like in the moment, and I was definitely like driving that bus and be like, get rid of this guy, sucks.
Oh,
I knew he was gonna suck. I didn't like him as our head coach. Like I was all out on him, but I just like in moments of great losses or like humiliations or whatever you want to say, those are the times when you can really reflect and like look back and say, who are we? What do we need to change? What do we need to do? And that's what takes you to the next level. Like all the movies, Rocky, it's not how hard you get hit. It's how hard you get hit and get up and still move forward, that kind of thing. That's what I'm talking about. It's like he took that on the chin and like that is flipped us this way. And then since then, Miami's been the opposite. So like, you just got to credit a lot. And the one last thing I'll say about the coaching, Sean Payton's philosophy about the way he like runs training camp. And he said, we're going to be mentally tough. We're going to have long days. This is why people think that players don't like him, because the training camps are going to be hard and he's not going to like, but hey, when it comes to close games and comes to fourth quarters this year, how are people? I think people like the way that he ran training camp. And usually, like, we've had a little more injuries than normal, but like the last couple of years, but those have been like not soft tissue injuries, or those have been like fluky, weird, landed on something or got tip drop tackled or something weird. So you got to give him credit for that, because there's a lot of really talented teams out there that aren't winning because their players aren't available. And Sean has that's a huge part of it. Bringing Bo Lowry too, like he's an extension of that.
Oh yeah, no, I mean everything, dude. Like he really does. He really does push the right buttons. Overall, man, he's been so good. Like it's like you literally can look at everything and be like, man, he's got it dialed in. And another thing for me is like, I think a lot of people think that, to your point earlier about like, why sometimes he gives a perception that like players don't like to coach from, because he really grinds them out, and he might like promise something that eventually comes to fruition, but in that time it's really frustrating. And that's why I think it's so important to have guys like Troutman and some other, like obviously little Jordan Humphrey or other guys that have gone through it with him, because they can sell to the players of like, dude, it might suck a lot now and you might not even believe what coach is telling you, but trust me, I've been there. And like once something clicks or once you get the opportunity, like it's going to work out. And time again, it has. Like it's constantly like it's so much more a marathon with certain things than it is a sprint. I mean, you talk about, we always kind of start off slow, but eventually you're going to get to the point where you're going to play really well. Or maybe he's getting on a player's ass about something that they feel like is small and nitpicky and stupid. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, that's why I did it, because look at the dividends that it's paid off. And I think that we're just scratching the surface with that kind of stuff in terms of like with Bo. Like I really feel like with Bo Nix, it's going to be one of those where you're going to notice it clicks, and then it's going to absolutely take off.
Yep.
Like take off.
Yep.
And it let's say it might take 2 full seasons. It might take 3, but like I'm so confident in that, because dude, you can't discount what he's done. This is someone that has won a shitload of games with Drew Brees, but has also won a shitload of games with Jameis Winston. He went 6-0 with Teddy Bridgewater. He won games that Taysom Hill, who's not even a quarterback, was starting.
Yep.
Decisively. And he's done it a lot. So it's like, yeah, I think that every single thing that starts to click, it starts to click with him. Some things might take a little bit longer than others, but guys obviously believe and they buy into it. They buy into the small details and taking shit for it, because they know the long-term gain that it's going to have. So it's pretty damn sweet. And
it weeds out the mentally weak. Like he basically makes it clear, like, this is going to be hard. People rise to the level of expectation, and he has high expectations for his team and his players. And if you don't want to rise to that level, you're not going to be here. So like, I'm fine with that, because I don't want mentally weak people. I don't want people to be like, oh, I want it to be easier than this. I want people that are like being pushed. I want to be coached hard. I want to be like the best I can possibly be. That's why I always felt like Bo and Sean were going to be a perfect match, because Bo wants a guy who's going to push him as hard as he can. And so, yeah, I love that type of guy. I mean, people will maybe say it's old school or whatever they want to call it, but like the results speak for themselves, man. We traded Bradley Chubb for a first round pick, and then had to trade that first round pick for Sean Payton. If you look back on that, at the time, a lot of people were like, you can't be trading for a coach and also paying him. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's the tone setter of your entire organization, man.
Yeah.
Like, how important else is it? So
yeah, no, I mean, it was a phenomenal trade. And it's funny because he's got a lot of old school traits, but he's also very adaptive to the new school also.
Yeah.
Right? Like obviously the fact that he wears Jordans and they have like the whole little smoke session that they put the little lights
Club
or
dub.
whatever. And he's got a good vibe of his team. Like, it's not always about work. Like he gave them the entire weekend off for the mini bye because he's like, I felt like we needed a break. He's given them the entire bye week off and the coaches because he feels like everyone needs a break. So he balances that out really well, for sure. And yeah, man, it's just it's been fun to see the culture grow. And man, he doesn't panic. Like I always kind of treat how I feel about the team based off of what Sean does, right?
Mhm.
Like there were times in that first year with Russ where we were winning, and then even before the New England game, you kind of felt like he was always like, we need to be better here. He was very critical. So you're like, shit, he's not feeling that good about it. We
Mhm.
wouldn't. And then there was a little bit of that. No, last year he was calm and collected, but like I wouldn't necessarily believe it. But now it's like, dude, if I don't feel like he's panicking, like I never got the vibe. And I'm pretty good at trying to read through the tea leaves and stuff. I
Mhm.
never got the vibe that he was like overly concerned with the offense or with Bo. Like he's like, we
Right.
need to get better, but like we will be. And I was like, cool, I believe you because you haven't given me a reason to not believe you
Right.
up to this
Right.
point. Like,
You've delivered every single time. Yeah.
yeah, like I believe it. And so for him, he's just like, man, he seems like he's after the KC game, he was like he was kind of on like his cockiness. He was like, who was it? I think it was Luca Evans or maybe Chris Thomas. One of the guys asked them about like they used like the Chiefs. They've been the king of the AFC West, and he's like they used to be. He cuts them off, and then they continue the question. He's like, yeah, they're not anymore. And I'm like, hell yes, Sean. Like
Dude.
hell yeah, I love that. Like I love that he'll have a little bit of moments, and then he'll kind of like backtrack on it. But like he'll show his cards a little bit, which is dope. It's like that's what I want.
What people don't understand about that is they look at that as like this bravado, ego. Just he's the smartest guy in the room. Just ask him all that bull crap. But it's like what you don't understand is not only is that like confidence, but like it's telling his team that he believes. I'm going to say it to the press. I'm going to say it to everybody who's listening what we are, because that's what we are. You know what I mean? That if you're one of his players and you hear that, you go, exactly right. You go, yeah, that's right. You know what I mean? The last thing you want to be like is like, well, hopefully we can win this week. No, he's cutting people off. He's correcting them. The fact, I forgot who I was listening to, but they made such a good point. That little coming out of starting into the halftime where you do that stupid little coaches interview that's like you never get anything from. And he was just like, they're a first half team. I feel great about where we are. We're exactly where we want to be, and we're going to do this. Like, that's bulletin board material saying that kind of stuff. And he's just like, I'm going to say it on the freaking broadcast as we're starting the second half. Like, we all call Will Lutz big nuts, but like, he's not scared. That is it. Like, he backs it up. Like, that's
But
the thing.
he does it at the right times.
Yeah, it's
like
calculated.
If he wasn't feeling it, I don't think he'd say it. Like people, if you go back and you look at the post game presser, the first time we beat Kansas City when we had Russ here and we kind of ended that streak, he wasn't like cocky about it. He was like, they were talking about the streak. He's like, well, that streak was here before I got here, right? He's like, all right, so it's done now. We can move on. Like we're gonna play in bigger games. He wasn't shitting at all on Kansas City. He was just like, all right, like let's set the expectations. Like that streak is done. We're gonna move forward. It was a very different tone than like this last one because at that point he's like, yeah, we beat him, but in no way did he feel like, oh, we're the Kings now, or yeah, we're gonna, we're not scared to play him, like we're better than him, because he knew that like we weren't at that point. But now it's like he says those things because he feels like the team is gonna be able to back it up.
Yep.
And he's nailed it, man. Like they have every time.
And if they don't, it's on him. He looks stupid. So it's not just like sometimes people like will talk crap as they're getting their ass kicked. And you're like, you're losing, dude. Like, what are you doing? He's not like that. He's like, he knows exactly what he's saying when he's going to say it. He's not going to say it sloppily. He's not like a drunk who's just like, oh yeah, well, they'll tell you something. It's like, no, dude, like he's standing on all 10 toes about what he truly, truly believes. Like you just said, when the Russell Wilson thing was going on, he was not happy. And yeah, we were winning games, but like it was a totally different feeling. And then when we weren't playing very well, and he was so confident in Bo and the offense and all that kind of stuff, it made me exactly like what you said. It made me feel like, okay, if he's not worried about it, I'm not worried about it. Cause that'd be,
Yeah.
I don't mind coaches like that. I like to know where I stand on things. And I'd rather get yelled at and know where I stand than someone to be like passive aggressive and say some nice things to me, but then secretly be like thinking something behind my back or something. I want a guy like that. I like that. And I think, a lot of things are said about younger generation about, oh, you can't tell these young millionaires, blah, 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 blah. He drafts the right type of guy because he drafts the guys that he feels like he can coach that way.
Yes. Yep.
And it's not just about acquiring talent. We tend to do that as people who are just looking at like, oh, this guy's available. Oh, this guy's available. It's like, it's got to be the right type of guy for him.
Yeah.
And he can squeeze every last drop out of the right type of guy. And he might not be able to get to the bulk of another type of guy, even though they're more talented. So he knows what he's doing, man. And you just, maybe, maybe at some point in time, somewhere down the line, like they've heard all the stories and it's fallen on deaf ears and you need a new voice and all that stuff. But like, in my opinion, I love Mike Shanahan. He's so similar in so many ways to him. And in some other ways, he's better than him. Like the way that he has that feel of the team and doesn't drop games he doesn't supposed to lose. I give him all the credit.
No, 100%, man. And I think for me, I always look at it too. And this could be like just speculative. I mean, I don't know this for sure, but I feel like it makes a lot of sense in a sense of like Sean Payton, even in the year, and it's kind of risky that I feel like he does this, but I think a lot of the times, like what made me think about this was when they always ask him about tempo. Are you going to go up tempo? And he gets really upset about that. And I think, well, why does he get upset? Because it's a good point. But I think to myself, when you look at everything, like a lot of the times, I feel like Sean Payton purposely, especially at times in the game, will run certain things that the team's not comfortable running, but he knows they need to get better at running.
Yes.
Because eventually they're going to need to be able to run those plays, and he wants them to be comfortable with it. You know what I mean? Like he knows he could probably go up tempo and the offense would maybe look a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, in the moments where I don't want you running up tempo because we need to kill some clock and we need to be able to end the game or control the possession, we need to be better at that. So we're not just going to sit there and run it to run it, especially when you've got the convenience of a very, very good defense that'll keep you in. It buys you a lot of that. So is it risky? Could it cost you in losing the game? Yeah, but all he's done is show that he can balance those things out, right? Yep. It's the same thing when you look at RG Harvey. He always says when we scouted him out of college, we saw him as a very good rusher with someone that could maybe catch the football. So then you're thinking, okay, then why aren't they having him run? Because they want him to get better at catching the football and be more well-rounded, because they know that if we ever needed to have him as a runner, he can do that well.
Yep.
But we need you to get better here. And so it's like it could be to the detriment of the team in some aspects, maybe statistics, whatever. But eventually, everyone's going to be able to do well. He's having Troy Franklin play the X and the Z and the Y and play all the positions because he wants him to be able to be good everywhere, even though he knows he probably thrives in one spot, so that in those moments, he can put everybody in a position that they can all succeed in together. But if someone gets injured or whatever happens, they can still play elsewhere. So there's so much of that going on that if you really just look at every individual, you're like, it makes total sense.
Yeah, he's thinking big picture.
Totally. Like he might feel like Bo is not very good at under center, but I'm going to run the shit out of under center calls so he can get good at under center.
Mm-hmm. Because we need to be that way.
Because you can't be one dimensional. You just cannot. Like he's like, if you want a team that's going to have one offensive package and not do substitutions, you're not going to like my team. Well, why does he say that? He doesn't say that because he's trying to prove to you that he's smarter than you. He says that because he knows that teams are going to attack you in different ways, and you need to be versatile in the way in which you respond to it. And so, man, like, yeah, it could be it's frustrating for people like myself sometimes too. I'm like, dude, just run up tempo. I'm sick of seeing a shit offense. But at the end of the day, eventually, you want them to be good at up tempo. You also need them to be really, really good when it's not, because up tempo is a small part of the game. So then there's a lot of that.
I think it's an excellent point. Like, that is so true. And that's why when we win ugly, I'm like, we won. We got what we needed to get done. And we're getting better. It's like eating vegetables. Like, I'm sure there's certain people out in the world that love eating vegetables, but like for the most part, like when you're a kid, you don't want to eat your vegetables, but you do it because you want your body to be good in the future, and you know, for your body to be nourished. And we do a lot of vegetable eating, like in games, where people just go, well, if this worked, why don't you just do that all the time? And I fall victim to that, because in the moment you're just like, do good, win, win, win. But like, he's looking at this as a season, as a team, long term, and people like us, and you know, fans in general, just like get caught up in like the immediacy of everything. And there's a method to his madness, and he's proven that, and we need to just call it. I'm not saying you can't criticize, and he's not wrong sometimes, he is, but like,
No, of course.
but like, if anybody's earned the benefit of a doubt, like, I just can't sure. I watched this video yesterday where people showed, remember the Garrett Bowles comment from just a couple of years ago, where he's like glum in the locker room with his head hung, and he's just like, I've been here for 7 years and all I've done is lost.
Yeah,
like that was the vibe of the entire team, of the entire franchise, not very long ago. And that was somebody who had been here for 7 straight years. And now we're talking about Super Bowls and first seeds. And I'm sorry, nobody was thinking that 4 months ago. No. We just like, that's ridiculous. Yeah. And we haven't been our best, and we're doing that. So like,
yeah,
it's nothing but an A. I guess just it is. Like, he's just been.
It's great. No, I completely agree, man. And I think like that's where I always feel like, you know, casual fans, and I don't like to say casual fans like demeaning them, right? Because there are a lot of people that just like, they love to watch the Broncos, they're really big fans, but they don't get into like the nitty gritty and the analytics, and that's totally fine. Like, totally. I've always kind of been like fascinated by that, but I don't expect for everyone else to. But like, when you really dig in, like, I feel like for me, and again, it's a lot of it is speculative because I really don't know, but a lot of it is like, it makes sense, dude. Like, you want to have, like, a lot of people are like, man, we have Evan Ingram blocking way too much. Well, I think recently it's because we just haven't had Nate Atkins. But to me, it's like, yeah, but we know he's a good receiver. And if you have him blocking more, not only is he going to get better, but teams aren't always going to assume that Evan Ingram's going to go out for a pass. They're going to respect the fact that he could be a blocker, and that could switch some things up. There's just so much of those little things that happen, you know? Yeah. And what I've liked about Sean is he's shown to kind of pull the trigger a little bit quicker. Like, I think Sean Payton in his first year in Denver never would have made Pat Bryant go from 10 to 15% of the snaps to almost 50% of the snaps in 4 weeks. It would have taken an entire season for that to happen. Yep. So he's quicker. He's realizing, like, man, there's a lot more upside with Pat. Trent Sherfield, he was brought in to do this. We'll move on from him. We'll bring in a little Jordan Humphrey so we can unleash Pat Bryant a little bit more and play him more. So like, those kinds of things he's quicker to do. But yeah, man, and also we signed Trent Sherfield before we knew we were going to draft Pat Bryant. So there's a lot of that goes into it. But that's just like one example. There's so many things where it's like, he puts these guys in uncomfortable positions and he makes them actually run it. And putting that on film is so much more important than just doing it in practice. Totally. Like, if you're going to put somebody in a vulnerable position to fail and they put that on film and you go back, it's not just about like, you know, criticizing them. It's saying, do you understand why you did that? Now you get a visual as to why you did that. This is where you can improve. And then they can actually get better. Because, dude, for me, like, talk about a golf reference. I always talk about golf references. If I was really shitty on the tee box, which I've been for the last year, right? I'm like, I hate driving. So I should probably go practice that shot more. But like, if somebody put it on video and showed me, this is what you're doing wrong, this and that, I would learn so much better than just being like, oh yeah, I know I needed to keep my wrist in more, or I needed to do that. But when you're visually seeing it, you're like, oh, I understand it. So there's a lot of that too. Like, he's willing to like have an offense that might not look all that pretty, or have guys fail and look bad in certain positions, because he knows eventually, and this is a marathon, it's a long season. Yes. They're going to get a lot better at that. And you see it, man. You see it every week. Damn, that guy's gotten a lot better in that. Yep. This dude's really cleaned that up.
And he'll call crap that he just wants the other team to have to prepare for down the line.
1000%.
Like, we get mad at it and be like, why would you run that? But it's like, they're going to have to spend like a chunk of their week now on something that he's not going to run again. But like, they don't know if he's going to run it. Like that. doing that level of it. It's not, we would just be like playing Madden. It's just like, I'm not going to call a play for somebody down the line. You know what I mean? We play Madden because it's like this play. I know how this play works. I want to run this play.
Yeah.
He's doing stuff where it's just like, this might not work, probably not going to work, but like, I want it out there. I want people to have this in the back of their minds.
Yep.
That's just the way
Yep. But
it's
if you
impressive.
notice too, like in a lot of the late game comebacks that we've had, the big time drives, how often lately has it been Cortland Sutton catching the one across the middle down the field?
Mhm.
It hasn't been as much. Teams are respecting that because they've seen it, and all of a sudden Franklin's making the play, or Pat Bryant's making those plays too, because you're kind of running the same things that you've run previous. They think it's going to court, they crash to court, something else opens up. Like, I don't have enough time on my hands to go through and look, but I guarantee you, if I spent like 6 hours looking through all the plays, I can find the exact same plays ran in week 1 that were ran in like week 10 and 11. And it ended up, the defense reacted to how the result was early in the season, but we reacted differently to the result. Like, that would be a lot of fun, but it also seems like my head will start hurting if I did that.
Yeah, that's next level. You're not getting paid enough for that.
No, not at all. Not at all. But if the Broncos wanted to hire me as like a quality control coach, I would happily spend 15 hours a day doing that. And it would be a blast.
Exactly.
I just have a mortgage, unfortunately. Anyways, man, we were pulling up on 2 hours. I can't believe how quick it always goes, but I appreciate it, man. I think Broncos country, hopefully, if they watch this whole thing, they got a lot of good insight as to kind of where we think. We'd love to know what you guys think in the comments. We'll break up a lot of these into shorts and into smaller videos that we can put out as well. But let us know your thoughts below, man, and enjoy this bye week for sure. You got anything on the docket?
No, I want to spend this bye week. I want to make a new. I'm a video editor by trade, and started my own business doing that. I want to also make a new intro for Horsepower Hour. So that's my bye week activity here.
All right, I dig it. And I don't know if we're gonna have a Horsepower Hour by. I feel like we should.
Yeah.
I think we should have maybe we'll talk about it. We'll have a Horsepower Hour, I think, Monday night still. There's still a lot to talk about. I think we can some reiterations of this and maybe looking ahead too. But no, looking forward to seeing that new video, man. And appreciate you guys tuning in, man. Go Broncos. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yep. Go Broncos, baby.
Peace.
Peace.